See, I always figured it would be so much better just to have them, be together and just have that family. But I feel as though those feelings that's just for me. That's just how I feel, and it's probably not for the best for either of them. But then again, it's just if they're separate, I don't really see that working out that well either. So it's kind of hard because I know definitely a lot of issues would be resolved if they were to split up, but then I feel as though that would create a whole lot of new issues. And I mean, me personally, and I don't want to be selfish about it, but to have to deal with that and go to different houses all the time and have to just have like separate lives really with them, it's just, I don't know, not something I really want. And it's hard because I don't know what would be the best for them because they do fight a lot, but then they can also help each other, and it's nice, and they do still do things together. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, they've been married for 25 years or something, so it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Have you ever spoken to either one of them about the situation?
Yeah, a couple times. Not recently, really, because I mean, we figured their problems are their problems, and that was gonna be. But yeah, I have, and my mother always leans more towards a divorce, and my dad leans more towards just staying together. And I mean, they are pretty different, and mostly because my mom just, I don't know, she likes to be on her own a lot, and especially because she feels like she knows she can do better no matter what. Like, she can take care of herself and do this and that. She doesn't need anybody.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, on the other hand, I mean, he does love my mom and just wants to stay for as long as he can.
So, I feel like there's kind of two sides that you have. That you are kind of really scared about the situation and unsure, but then another side of you is like handling it really well.
Yeah.
So, can you kind of clarify for me with how you're feeling? Or?
Well, I mean, it definitely does scare me, and it always has. A little less now because I'm getting to the point where I could pretty much be on my own, and I basically will be within the next few years. So it's not as much of a concern to me as it was like when I was in high school and where I would live or where any of that stuff would be. But it's still definitely a lot to take in and a lot for me. And usually I don't like to mention it because it just makes me feel, like now I have to, here it is again. Just, just have to think about it and whatnot. But I definitely do feel like it's a big stress, and it's always going to be a big stress as much as it should be, and I don't want it to be, which then conflicts with things like schoolwork or just regular work and, having fun, really. Because I call my parents almost every day just because I basically literally want to like check up on them and see how they are and what's happening and if anything's wrong or anything, which is kind of weird because I feel like a parent, and I mean, just having that responsibility, even if I give myself that responsibility, it's just a lot to have and not that great. So I still get pretty overwhelmed and upset by it, but I take it in strides.
Have you and your parents ever acknowledged the fact that you hold a lot of responsibility, or that you feel like, you're parenting them? Has that ever been acknowledged?
A little bit, yeah. My mom, she kind of sees it, but I mean, what was the word? Like, she sees it, but she doesn't fully want to acknowledge it because she feels like that's an insult to her, really, that I have to step up and be, the bigger person or something, or intervene in any sort of fights or whatever. And my dad kind of, I mean, he doesn't like to talk about things in general, so he kind of puts it on the back burner and doesn't want to talk about it if I mention it, or if I say, "Oh, Dad, well, I feel like this," he'll say, "No, it's fine. Everything's okay. You don't need to do this. Mom and I have it covered," and all that. But it's still just, I mean, I guess the fact that they do avoid it a lot makes me just a little more tense because it makes me feel like, oh my goodness, is why you're not
Mm-hmm.
listening, because I know I'm young and I haven't had much experience, and I've never been married, and I don't know what any of this or any of these dynamics are like, but it's still just, I mean, I know things too. I shouldn't just be overruled because I'm their kid,
Mm-hmm.
so this doesn't make much sense to me.